Hello everyone, Kate here, back on the video. Today for you guys, I'm going to be reading the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. It was written in 1961. I'll leave a link to this down in the description below, along with our PayPal. You can email us at themailing@gmail.com for private consultation. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, done at Vienna on 18th of April, 1961. The states parties to the present convention, recalling that peoples of all nations from ancient times have recognized the status of diplomatic agents, having in mind the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations concerning the sovereign equality of the states, the maintenance of international peace and security, and the promotion of friendly relations among nations. Believing that an international convention on diplomatic intercourse, privileges, and immunities would contribute to the development of friendly relations among nations, irrespective of their differing constitutional and social systems. Realizing that the purpose of such privileges and immunities is not to benefit individuals, but to ensure the efficient performance of the functions of diplomatic missions as representing states. Affirming that the rules of customary international law should continue to govern questions not expressly regulated by the provisions of the present convention. Have agreed as follows. Article 1. For the purpose of the present convention, the following expressions shall have the meanings hereunder assigned to them. The head of the mission is the person charged by sending the state with the duty of acting in that capacity. The members of the mission are the head of the mission and the members of the staff of the mission. The members of the staff of the mission are the members of the diplomatic staff, of the administrative and technical staff and of the office staff of the mission. The members of diplomatic staff are the members of the staff of the mission having diplomatic rank. A diplomatic agent is the head of a mission or a member of the diplomatic staff of the mission. The members of the administrative and technical staff are the members of the staff of the mission employed in the administrative and technical service of the mission. The members of the service staff are the members of the staff of the mission in the domestic service of the mission. A private servant is a person who is in the domestic service of a member of the mission and who is not an employee of the sending state. The premises of the mission are the buildings or parts of buildings and the land ancillary thereof, irrespective of ownership, used for the purposes of the mission, including the residence of the head of the mission. Article 2. The establishment of diplomatic relations between states and of permanent diplomatic missions takes place by mutual consent. Article 3. The functions of a diplomatic mission consist inter alia in representing the sending state in the receiving state, protecting in the receiving state the interest of the sending state and of its nationals within the limits permitted by an international law, negotiating with the government of the receiving state, ascertaining by all lawful means conditions and developments in the receiving state, and reporting thereon to the government of the sending state, promoting friendly relations between the sending state and the receiving state, and developing their economic, cultural, and scientific relations. Nothing in the present convention shall be construed as preventing the performance of a consular functions by a diplomatic mission. Article 4. The sending state must make certain that the agreement of the receiving state has been given for the person it proposes to accredit as the head of the mission to that state. The receiving state is not obliged to give reasons to the sending state for a refusal of agreement. Article 5. The sending state may, after it has given due notification to the receiving states concerned, accredit a head of mission or assign any member of the diplomatic staff, as the case may be, to more than one state, unless there is express objection by any of the receiving states. If the sending state accredits a head of mission to one or more other states, it may establish a diplomatic mission headed by a charge d'affaires ad heritem in each state where the head of mission has not his permanent seat. A head of mission or any member of the diplomatic staff of the mission may act as representative of the sending state to any international organization. Article 6. Two or more states may accredit the same person as head of mission to another state, unless objection is offered by the receiving state. Article 7. Subject to the provisions of Articles 5, 8, 9, and 11, the sending state may freely appoint the members of the staff of the mission. In the case of military, naval, or air attaches, the receiving state may require their names to be submitted beforehand for its approval. Article 8. Members of the diplomatic staff of the mission should be principal be of the nationality of the sending state. Members of the diplomatic staff of the mission may not be appointed from among persons having the nationality of the receiving state, except with the consent of that state, which may be withdrawn at any time. The receiving state may reserve the same right with regard to nationals of a third state who are also not nationals of the sending state. Article 9. The receiving state may at any time and without having to explain its decision notify the sending state that the head of a mission or any member of the diplomatic staff of the mission is persona non grata, or that any other member of staff of the mission is not acceptable. In any such case, the sending state shall, as appropriate, either recall the person concerned or terminate his functions with the mission. A person may be declared non grata or not acceptable before arriving in the territory of the receiving state. If the sending state refuses or fails within a reasonable period to carry out its obligations under paragraph 1 of this article, the receiving state may refuse to recognize the person concerned as a member of the mission. Article 10. The Ministry for Foreign Affairs of the receiving state or any or such other ministry as may be agreed shall be notified of the appointment of members of the mission, their arrival and their final departure, or the termination of their functions with the mission. The arrival and final departure of a person belonging to the family of a member of the mission, and where appropriate, the fact that a person becomes or ceases to be a member of the family of a member of the mission. The arrival and final departure of private servants in the employ of persons referred to in subparagraph A and of this paragraph, and where appropriate, the fact that they are leaving the employ of such persons. The engagement and discharge of such persons resident in the receiving state as members of the mission or private servants entitled to privileges and immunities. Where possible, prior notification of arrival and final departure shall also be given. Article 11. In the absence of specific agreement as to the size of the mission, the receiving state may require that the size of a mission be kept within limits considered by it to be reasonable and normal, having regard to circumstances and conditions in the receiving state, and to the needs of the particular mission. The receiving state may equally within similar bounds and on a non-discriminatory basis refuse to accept officials of a particular category. Article 12. The sending state may not, without prior express consent of the receiving state, establish offices forming part of the mission in localities other than those in which the mission itself is established. Article 13. The head of the mission is considered as having taken up his functions in the receiving state either when he has presented his credentials or when he has notified his arrival, and a true copy of his credentials has been presented to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the receiving state, or such other ministry as may be agreed, in accordance with the practice prevailing in the receiving state, which shall be applied in a uniform manner. The order of presentation of credentials, or of a true copy thereof, will be determined by the date and time of the arrival of the head of the mission. Article 14. Heads of mission are divided into three classes, namely, that of ambassadors or nuncios, accredited to heads of state and other heads of mission of equivalent rank; that of envoys, ministers, and irrecaminos, accredited to heads of state; that of charges d'affaires, credited to ministers for foreign affairs. Except as concerns precedence and equity, there shall be no differentiation between heads of mission by reason of their class. Article 15. The class to which the heads of their missions are to be assigned shall be agreed between states. Article 16. Heads of missions shall take precedence in their respective classes in the order of the day and time of taking up their functions in accordance with Article 13. Alterations in the credentials of a head of mission not involving any charge of class shall not affect his precedence. This article is without precedence to say to any practice accepted by the receiving state regarding the precedence of the representative of the Holy See. Article 17. This precedence of the members of the diplomatic staff of the mission shall be notified by the head of the mission to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or such other ministry as may be agreed. Article 18. The procedure to be observed in each state for the reception of heads of missions shall be uniform in respect of each class. Article 19. If the post of head of the mission is vacant, or if the head of the mission is unable to perform his functions, a charge interim shall act provisionally as head of the mission. In the name of the charge d'affaires ad hirtum shall be notified, either by the head of the mission or, in case he is unable to do so, by the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of the sending state to the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of the receiving state, or such other ministry as may be agreed. In cases where no member of the diplomatic staff of the mission is present in the receiving state, a member of the administrative and technical staff may, with the consent of the receiving state, be designated by the sending state to be in charge of the current administrative affairs of the mission. Article 20. The mission and its head shall have the right to use the flag and emblem of the sending state on the premises of the mission, including the residence of the head of the mission, and on his means of transport. Article 21. The receiving state shall either facilitate the acquisition on its territory in accordance with its laws by the sending state of premises necessary for its mission, or assist the latter in obtaining accommodation in some other way. It shall also, where necessary, assist missions in obtaining suitable accommodation for their members. Article 22. The premises of the mission shall be inviolable. The agents of the receiving state may not enter them, except with the consent of the head of the mission. The receiving state is under a special duty to take all appropriate steps to protect the premises of the mission against any situation or damage and to prevent any disturbance of the peace of the mission or impairment of his dignity. The premises of the mission, their furnishings, and other property therein, and the means of transport of the mission shall be immune from search, requisition, attachment, or execution. Alright guys, I'm gonna end off here, and hopefully I should be able to finish up in part 2. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.